Alright, everybody out there on the internet, we have bought a set of Viking Lamellar hard bags. This is a 2018 Street Bob. You can tell I've relocated the blinkers because these bags, you will need to relocate the blinkers. I temporarily moved them up here. I didn't go over how I did that, but I'm going to go over how to mount the bags. The reason I relocated the blinkers here is because we're riding out to Sturgis, and she will not be running these bags all the time. She'll just be running it for Sturgis. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to mount these brackets here and then do some measurements and take them off, drill the bag. So the first part I'm going to show you is how you mount these brackets. What we did is we put some felt on here with some glue, so when these are on here, when we bolt them down, they don't scratch them. You're going to need a 3/8 socket or socket of your choice and a T45 Torx bit. All you're going to do is you're going to take your Torx bit and insert it. You're going to turn counterclockwise to loosen. Loosen it up. And this is just to do measurements for right now, so we'll put them on to figure out how high she wants the bags. They do supply you with plenty of screws and bolts and washers, but for right now I'm just going to use this temporarily so we can do some measurements. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and insert this screw with the felt facing the bike. I'm going to insert the screw into here, and I'm going to just hand tighten these for now, and then we'll do measurements, and when we're done with measurements I will show you what we need to do to fit these brackets onto the bag after we've measured the distance we want. And I'll go ahead and just remove this other one, and I will be back shortly with you on how we measure and then drill the bags. Alright, so I'm starting with the left side of the bag because the left side of the bike on the Softail is a little bit wider than the right. It comes out a little bit more. We have to deal with the frame. So what I did is I put a bunch of boxes here so I don't have to hold it and then try to mark where I want to make my drill runs. I've got the brackets here, felts on. This is temporary. You're going to have to deal with this. These won't be permanent. Once I figure out where my measurements are, I will drill the bag, this will come out, I will put the hardware on, and I'll mount the bag. What I did to make it easy is I got some wood, some 2x4 as a box, and I kind of already played with it a little bit. Obviously you guys don't want to see me over here cussing and doing all kinds of stuff trying to get this thing to fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking the frame into account here, and I'm just going to set it up as far as I can against the frame, like so. And then I'm going to set it on my 2x4s here, or my wood. I'm going to kind of line it up at the back, kind of see where I want it. And then once it's there, where I want it exactly, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line at the top of the bracket, and then I will drill my holes, and I will be back in a minute to drill the holes. Alright, so I've got a 2564 drill bit, I've got my DeWalt handheld drill, I've marked the bag where I'm going to mount the bracket, I've marked where I'm going to drill some of the holes. I'm going to do one side first and then mount the bag to the side and make sure that my second bracket is perfect aligned with the back fender. I'll do one bracket at a time. It takes time, but I'm a stickler for making sure that the lines on the bike are clean and they stay clean, so we'll do one bracket at a time. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, with the bracket against the bag, I'm going to stick my drill bit inside. I'm going to just go ahead and go through the bag. To make sure that I keep the line straight, I'm going to go ahead and put one of the bolts through the bag like this, and then I've already got marks here. You can't see them because it's black Sharpie. They do have paint pens that might be better if your bags are black. So I'll line this up, I'll just eyeball it. You can use a level if you want one. So I've got one in the top. I'm going to do a second. There's a total of 4 holes. I'm going to go with 3 holes. just to give it the maximum amount of support I can get. It looks pretty damn straight to me, good enough. I'm gonna do my second hole. Alright, so I've got my markings here. You can't see it here, it's a black Sharpie. They do make felt markers in different colors like white, pink, whatever color you choose, whatever floats your boat. Here I've got everything lined up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 2564 drill for the very top bolt that mounts into the fender support on the bike. I'm going to go ahead and drill through. So I've got my hole now. And what I'm going to do is there's 4 different holes on the bracket. This is the larger hole that mounts directly against the fender bracket of the bike, and then there's 3 other smaller holes. I'm gonna go ahead, in their videos and other people, they show you they may use 2. I'm gonna use 3 holes just because I want the additional support on the bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the bracket back on like this, and then I'll just insert this through. I've got my holes, I already marked my holes where I want them, and then I'm going to change my drill bit to a 5/16, lock it in. I'll drill my second hole at the very top, and then I'm going to go ahead and take another screw just to keep things level, to keep things lined up. I'll just insert that for now like that. So I've got that inserted, and now I'll drill my last hole. Got some fiberglass, and that's it. And then I'm going to grab the key, open it up, and I'll mount it on the bag, and then I'll go ahead and line it up on the bike. Alright, so I've got my bracket mounted. I've got 2 bolts inside of here. They go directly through my drill holes. You can see them in there. Now I'm just going to take my 1/2-inch wrench. I'm going to put it inside on the nut. Then I'm going to take my 9/16 socket. I'm just going to tighten these up. Hand tighten them first. And I'll go ahead and lock them in. I'll lock this other one in. Now that they're all nice and tight, this one will go through. Basically, when we mount the bag onto the frame or onto the fender bracket, this will go through, and that will go into the frame like that. They do have the different length of screws or bolts that you can use. It's a variety, and you probably won't use them all. And then one thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to change these, most likely this hardware here. I'm going to change them to a Torx or hex button style screw. That way when you're putting things inside the bag, you don't hit yourself or nick your fingers on these bolts. And then I'll also use a lock nut for a little extra locking power on the screw itself. So these are some things that you're going to want to probably change on this, is different hardware that's rounded like that. This is just a regular screw, but they make a hex and a Torx style like that. So that's it.